All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shintastic Saturday here on July 11th. I can't tell you how excited I am. We've got a great program to share with you, and those of you that are joining us for the very first time, we want to just thank you so much for joining us. I know you got up early today. You're probably sitting with a cup of coffee in your family living room, and you're trying to find out what this is all about because somebody told you you got to get on this call. So we started these podcasts or webinars, Zoom calls, whatever you want to call them, when COVID-19 started, and we just had to figure out some alternative ways to communicate with everyone. So we normally meet in our office. We've got brick and mortar facilities all around the country, and we provide amazing training and content that people come to learn so that we can provide some tools for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs to be successful. And when COVID-19 happened, we couldn't stop. We had to quickly adapt to the changes, and we started our studio, and next thing you know, we're doing these shows, and it's been, the feedback has been amazing. We've had amazing guest speakers join us on a weekly basis, providing amazing content, if you would. A lot of, information to help you grow, to help you understand how to cope with adversities, how to grow your business. I mean, financial principles. I mean, whatever it is, we've got great speakers. So today we've got a lot to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to probably go right up until 12 o'clock. So I've got a few minutes here to just make a few announcements. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and do this. So next Tuesday, we have this individual named John Pham who's going to be joining us at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we encourage you to make sure that you register down below. You'll see it right there all highlighted to register at bit.ly John Shin Tuesday Talks. And I just want you to know that it is a case, the letters are case sensitive, okay? So wherever you see a capital letter and a lowercase letter, you gotta be very specific with that and make sure that you register now because we do have a certain number of slots for these podcasts. I think we max out at 1,000, and then of course we carry over onto a YouTube live channel if we go over 1,000. But the only downside is then you can't ask questions. You can't really participate if you would. So we want you to register early because we do sell out. We've been packed out every single week. Even during the holidays, the 4th of July, we were doing these and we were totally sold out and maxed out. And some people were texting and saying, I can't get in. And so they had to go to our YouTube channel and begin watching it there. So in any case, this is a man that I've known for probably 26 years. He resides in Orange County, and he's got a beautiful family, a serial entrepreneur. He's done so well for himself. Make sure that you join us next week on Tuesday, July 14th, okay? And then the next day on July 15th, we've got a episode for you on how to get started as an entrepreneur, as an independent contractor, whatever. How do you get your business going? So we've got that training available as well on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And then next week on Thursday, I've invited 2 guest speakers. We have a man named Mike Antosi and a guy named Kevin who is the Regional Vice President of Transamerica. And both of them have some amazing content to share with you. And again, you do have to register for that. So just some upcoming events that we really want to encourage you. Now, for whatever reason, if you can't get on here, we don't want you to miss out. And so we want you to go to my YouTube channel, and you're just going to type in John Shin Official. We would appreciate it if you subscribe to us and let us notify you. If you go into YouTube, there's a little link that there's a little button that you can click. Maybe we should create some sort of training on that, Anna, where to go and click that so you can subscribe. And whenever we update new content, you'll be notified. So you can go in there and see our newest, latest podcast webinar show. All right, so again, register for this, and then we'll resume back every Saturdays at 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time with our Shintastic Saturday. What is it? AM. Did I say p.m.? I was looking at PST, and then I said p.m., but 11 a.m. But maybe we should do an 11 o'clock p.m. call for all the night owls and go till midnight. Of course, my staff is looking at me and saying, no. But anyway, so there you go. Now, I wanted to really encourage all of you to read a book called Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. I and my wife, Arlene, and I read this book in 1995, 1996. And as we read this book, we couldn't put it down. We both began to really understand the way the mind has to shift to become an entrepreneur. And Napoleon Hill was a reporter in the mid-30s during the Great Depression, and he approached a man named Andrew Carnegie, and hopefully you all know who Andrew Carnegie is. Andrew Carnegie was a steel mogul and a very wealthy man. In fact, if he was alive today, Andrew Carnegie, I believe, would be the wealthiest man walking this planet today. I mean, that's how wealthy this man was. And Napoleon Hill asked him, what was the secret to becoming successful? So Andrew commissioned Napoleon Hill to spend 25 years of his life to interview other successful business people and industry giants. And he went off and spent his life basically interviewing people like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Theodore Roosevelt, the Wright brothers, the Rockefellers, and many other people. Over 500 people where he dedicated 25 years of his life. Well, this book now, Think and Grow Rich, has got a new cover to it. And it's right here. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It's the original unedited version of the book. And shortly in the 1990s, a man named Dr. Dennis Kimbrough wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. Now, this is he puts a little bit of a different twist to it. He took a lot of the successful, African-American people and, asked them the same question, what does it take to be successful like you? And so he's got people like Oprah, Will Smith, Spike Lee, and many other amazing stories here. And then the Latino version came out by Lionel Sosa. And then shortly after that, we had Think and Grow Rich for Women by Sharon Lecter. Now, Sharon, for those of you that don't know her, you probably read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Sharon was the co-founder of Rich Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. She ran the company as the president for 10 years and then left and then started working with the Think and Grow Rich lineup here with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So, Sharon and I have become very good friends. We've toured all over the world together. And right now, believe it or not, we were supposed to be in Asia touring together, but with what's happening around the world, we are communicating, pretty frequently still and doing other kind of virtual events and virtual masterminds and summits and things like that. Well, what's interesting here is, we've got the Black choice, a Latino, a women's choice. But as I said here and looked for a book called Think and Grow Rich, an Asian choice on Amazon, on Google, I couldn't find it. And so I realized that maybe there wasn't a book called Think and Grow Rich, an Asian choice. And I remember sitting in my kitchen with my wife, and it was one morning I woke up and I felt like I was looking out my window. And if you've ever been to my home, which I'd love to invite some of you to my house, not some, I'd like to invite all of you to my home one day and look out someday when we have a chance to meet face to face again. And, I'm looking out to this wonderful scenery of green backyard, and I was like just kind of paralyzed, and Arlene, my wife, comes over and says, honey, are you okay? You're kind of in a daze. And I looked over at her and I said, I'm going to call the Napoleon Hill Foundation and ask them if I can get the rights to make the book called Think and Grow Rich, an Asian Choice. And she said, I'm sure someone has already done that. And I said, well, if it is, I can't find it anywhere on the internet. And so sure enough, I called them up and we had some discussions about me becoming the author of How Rich Asians Think, which is a Think and Grow Rich publication. So this is approved, endorsed by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. It is a Think and Grow Rich publication. And so what an honor it is that, almost 30 years ago, I read the original book, and to think 30 years later that I would become a member of the Think and Grow Rich faculty. And so I want to encourage you guys to read this. Let me go backwards here because I skipped this. I wanted to talk to you guys about this movie called Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. So I also, along with a few other my friends, asked the Napoleon Hill Foundation if we can make a movie based on the original book. And surprisingly, after some negotiation, we came to an agreement and we made this movie. We got the rights to make the movie. So I put up the money, put the team together, had no idea what to do. I've never made a movie in my life, but that's why it's so important for you to go and create a team, right? To go out there and create a mastermind. In fact, you hear a lot about masterminds and people don't know that the word mastermind was actually coined by Napoleon Hill, okay? So Napoleon Hill Foundation actually owns the rights to the word mastermind, believe it or not, right? So this movie has now gone viral around the world. People are watching it in Asia, in Europe, in Scandinavia, Portugal, Spain, I mean, you name it, all over North America. And we have been showing this. We've been doing some special screenings, and we would love to have you join us for a special screening, and we'll inform you when those come up. They're usually on Friday nights at around 6:30 p.m. It's absolutely free. Pop some popcorn, get those pizza and hot dogs or whatever you enjoy to eat. Get your family and spouse and children around the TV and watch this awesome book come to life on your screen. So there you have it. Now, if you want a copy of this, which many people have, we'd love to send you a copy of this. Please go to johnshin.com and you can buy it right here. The book. I mean, the movie. And so here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to do this. We're going to do a very special promo this morning. And what we want you to do is this. If you want a copy of my book, and a copy of the movie, we're going to give you a link that you can click at the end of this program, where you're going to be able to get both for basically just $25. We're going to give you the book and the movie for $25. We're going to do a very special promo. And hopefully you guys will stick to the very end, so we'll give you the link that you can actually go ahead and order that at the very end, okay? So now, as we talk about this, we went, by the way, in my book, some amazing stories here. Elon Musk, Jack Ma, Vera Wang, Dwayne Johnson, Steve Aoki, Jamie Villalobos, Kevin Harrington, Raja Dhaliwal, Penny Oy. The list goes on. I mean, this is just a handful of the people that we've got in our book, and there's many, many other great stories of people that have done so well for themselves. So make sure you get a copy. It is on Amazon right now. I think you can get an ebook right now for $2.99. It is also available on audio, so we encourage you to do that as well. And it will give you step by step on what you need to do to become successful, okay? Now, look, we went on a tour last year. We started this tour called Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy World Tour. Our goal was to go to 12 countries. We wanted to hit 34 states here in the United States. We didn't quite hit 34, but we did, I believe it was about 12, or no, it was 13 cities in different states. And then, of course, we went to 3 countries. And so pretty awesome. Pretty amazing thing here. And then hopefully next year, we've stopped the tour this year, but we're going to resume hopefully by next year. We'll see how all this pandemic begins to subside, okay? So now, one of the questions that a lot of people ask is, you know, when you go on your tour, who can we hear from? And we've had people like Condoleezza Rice, the former Secretary of State, Barbara Corcoran, who is also, by the way, in my movie called The Shark Tank. And then, you know, we've got Martin Shin, who both he and I served as officers of the Manny Pacquiao Foundation. This is Rob Dyrdek, who's also in the movie, Think and Grow Rich. This is Stedman Graham. I don't know if you guys all know Stedman, but Stedman is Oprah Winfrey's other half. What an amazing individual, tremendous knowledge and wisdom that Stedman has. And for those of you that don't know Stedman, he's about 6'10", I believe. He's 6'10" or 6'9". I mean, this guy's really tall, 6'8" maybe. And, you know, you're probably looking at this picture right now going, wait, if he's 6'8", how tall are you, John? Well, I'm 5'8", okay, so I'm not quite tall, but you're probably looking at that and now very confused how I'm actually taller than in this picture. And that's the benefit of having folding chairs, right? And so thank God I had one of these laying around so that I can actually see him eye to eye. And so when I did this with Stedman, it was hilarious. He was cracking up, and he said, no one's ever done that before. So anyway, this is Steve Aoki, Mario Lopez. We're actually co-authoring a book together. We've been sharing the stage and hosting some events together. And then, of course, one of the greatest honors both my wife had last year in September of 2019 was we were knighted by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen. And, you know, the people in this organization, in this Royal Order, their vision, their goal, their mission of what they want to do and to help humanity around the world, as what knights used to do, you know, in the old chivalry days. You know, they said part of the code of honor of the knighthood is they're protectors of the realm, right? Protectors, you know, to serve people that need help. And so we're kind of like the modern day knights. Not like we're walking around with swords and white horses and stuff, but you know, the things that we can do collectively, it's pretty amazing what this organization has done. This is my wife right here, who was also damed last year as a knight. And so, you know, I share all this stuff with you not to sound braggadocious. This is not to toot my own horn, but I just want you to know what your life could potentially look like. I mean, your life could be so amazing if you just make the decision to do so. You know, we get people asking us all the time, how did it happen to us? And so one thing is we prayed. We pray every day together. We put our hands together and we pray for so many things that we're grateful for. And it's amazing when you pray for things, you know, that sometimes I want you to know that God may be sending you a request that you're praying for in a different package. You ever wonder that maybe he's not, if you're praying for $1 million, it's not like he's going to send you $1 million in a briefcase with a bunch of Ben Franklins, right? But I mean, I don't know, maybe he would. Maybe, I don't know, he works in mysterious ways, but I believe he sends it to you in a different package. Okay, maybe he's going to open a door for you, maybe introduce you to somebody. Maybe a new a new chapter will open for you, okay? And you just got to be open to it, right? Like an open parachute, right? You got to keep your mind open for it to work, so you can find those clues that the Heavenly Father is sending you a sign that this is the new chapter for you. And you even being here today could mean something, right? There's something here today that I believe that will resonate with you, and you know, this could be it for you, you know, some opportunities. So I believe that timing is also very important, knowing that you're at the right place at the right time. And we got into business, you know, gosh, almost 30 years ago. 1991 is when my wife started her first company. And, you know, of course, I met her in 1994. We got married in the same year. And it took her almost a year to convince me. And so I got started with my wife in 1995. And as we got started in 1995, I got to tell you that we were at the right place at the right time, but I think more now than ever. If you look at this generation of people called the baby boomers, there's about 80 million of them here in America that we can account for. I think there's actually probably more that are undocumented in that same generation from 1946 to 1964. That's the 18 years that you're considered a baby boomer. Now, by the way, they call it the baby boom because there's never been within an 18-year span where so many babies were born. And when 1945 World War II was over, all of a sudden the babies, you know, the soldiers and sailors had come home and not seen a woman in a long time. And then boom, babies were born. Okay. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. That's really what happened. And so that began the demand for baby food. And as the babies got a little bit older, they wanted toys. And then of course you could see the genesis, right, of these baby boomers and the timeline and the demand for what they need and want. And so then came the car industry, and then the auto industry. Technology came in the 90s, and then all of a sudden they all wanted to buy real estate. So they all started buying real estate in the 2000s. And then of course, you know, the industry got greedy, and they were, you know, giving loans and selling homes to people who couldn't even afford it, right? So by 08 was the world financial crisis, 08, 9, and 10. And then guess what? Here we are today, where the first baby boomer was born in 1946 is now 74 years of age. I mean, it's amazing how time flies, and now they're beginning to think about retirement. And now the good news is the younger generation, not only just the baby boomers, but the Gen X, Gen Y, and the Gen Zs are all thinking about, okay, I got to start saving money. I don't want to be broke either when I retire. So we're finally at the right place at the right time, where the demand is there for people to want to start a retirement account. Healthcare is a big issue. Today, people who are getting laid off, people who've been furloughed, are saying, I'm probably not going to go back to my job. I don't even know. They've been furloughed indefinitely. And so they're probably not going to even go back or be called back. So they're looking, you know, and a lot of these people are now got their 401k plans and they need to roll it over. They got to take that money and take it somewhere else. Many of these companies are going bankrupt. They're closing down. So now these employees have to take their money and go somewhere. And so they got to roll it over. So there's a lot of different things that we can show them where they can have some guarantees on their principal, have some guaranteed rate of returns for income. I mean, the things that we can educate people about and the things that people don't know. We're here. This is the greatest time. In fact, in the last 4 months, I got to tell you, my overall sales have almost doubled. Okay, and it's crazy. So as much as I'm sitting here, I know the world is suffering. People are suffering today financially, emotionally, mentally. I was just told one of our dear friends, a guy named Bernie Dorfman, just recently passed away the last couple of days ago because of COVID-19. You know, one of my staff members' mothers passed away. Hey, we know this is real. You know, people are dying from COVID-19. But at the same time, on the other side, you know, for us in this industry, our business is just skyrocketing. And so if you're looking for an opportunity, I want you to strongly consider exploring, you know, a possible career in the financial service industry, okay? I believe financial literacy is an absolute necessity in this country today. And if you look at in 2012, 37 states require sex education. Now, if you look at these blue states here, we highlighted them in blue. It's not a political thing, blue. It's just we highlighted them in blue. We could have done them in yellow or purple or whatever, but we highlighted them in blue. And it's sad that only 4 states require financial literacy courses in high school. Now, my opinion and my perspective is that if our children are old enough and mature enough to understand sex education, then they should become financially literate as well, okay? That's just my opinion. In fact, just to show you the progress of what's going on in terms of adopting financial courses in high school, in 2015, we had 1 state, which is Alabama. That's it, 1 state in 3 years. Now, let's move forward now to 2012, and you can Google this. I'm not making this up. Now we've got Iowa and North Carolina. We have a total of 7 states in our union that require financial education in high school. And so I think it's so sad that, you know, our children are growing up today. They don't know the difference between a stock and a mutual fund. They don't know the difference between a UIT and an ETF. They don't know the difference between an actively managed account versus a passively managed account. They don't know the difference between term life or whole life and universal life. They don't know if they should buy a car or lease a car. Should they rent? Should they buy a home? You know, there's all these things are such an essential part of learning how to become wealthy, but they don't know. They don't know how money works. And so I am so poised to educate people about money. You know, it's like my life calling, you know, to educate people about finance and money, and we've done well over the last 30 years, but we're still growing, and we need your help, right? I mean, more now than ever, because people are just suffering. People don't even have $1,000 right now, and this is why the government, the federal government, is sending $1,200 to people right now, and people are excited about this $1,200. I mean, imagine if they're excited about $1,200 if they could start a business, right? And learn how money works. And today I want to talk to you about the 6 steps to financial security. One of the most important thing is to become, is to increase your cash flow, right? Start a business, okay? Number 2 is to manage your debt. Get out of debt as quickly as possible. I mean, that's like financial cancer right there. Number 3 is to create an emergency fund. Hey, right now, more than ever, I rest my case. I mean, I've been telling people now for almost 30 years to have an emergency fund because things happen, right? Emergencies happen all the time. I mean, you know, just the other day, I was towing my boat, and as I was towing my boat, I've got a big 30-foot boat. at the lake, and as I was towing my boat, my trailer, we blew out 2 tires, and I'm very fortunate. You should see the wheels. In fact, I should probably post it on Facebook so you can see it. But I mean, it was like even the wheels got just devastated, right? And so I'm glad to be alive first. I mean, I was going like 70 miles an hour, even though when you're pulling a trailer, you should only be going 55. But fortunately, I pulled over, and I remember, you know who I was actually on the phone with was actually a friend of mine. Her name is Hannah Hornstein. And we were actually talking late at night, and I'm like, oh, Hannah, I just had a tire blowout when I got out of my car. You know, I had to go and look at, when I got out, I noticed I had 2 tires, and I only had 1 spare. But that's a whole nother story. Not to digress, but I mean, hey, that's an emergency. It happens, right? You know, one of my air compressors went out on one of my air conditioning units in my house. That cost me $10,000, right? I mean, and most people don't have this kind of money. I mean, what would they do if they're living in a hot place where the weather outside is 105, 10 degrees, and you don't have air conditioning in your house? I mean, can you imagine? What would you do? How would you come up with $10,000 to fix your air conditioning? And so things happen, and this is why I want you guys to know, you know, you've been furloughed, you've been laid off. That's an emergency. And the textbook says that you should probably have 90 days worth of emergency money, but I actually believe in having 12 months of emergency funds set aside, okay? Number 4 is to protect yourself, protect your family from everything, right? Number 5 is to create some sort of a long-term savings account where you have money for a wedding, for a bar mitzvah, a quinceañera for your child, to buy a house, right? Something. You got to start setting money aside and not expect to just buy everything on credit, okay? And then finally is to protect your assets. You know, unfortunately today, more than ever, we're living in a very litigious, you know, society. People suing people every day for anything, you know? And so you have to protect yourself. Even though you think you're going to win, you actually lose, because the moment you're sued, you're going to have to hire a lawyer if you don't know how to represent yourself. Then, and you can represent yourself pro per, I guess, but you know, most likely you don't want to hire an attorney. Then you got to pay an attorney. You have to pay an attorney to file an answer to the complaint and go to court and represent you and do all the motions and all. And that's not refundable. I mean, you know, you're going to lose that money there. So, you know, these are things that happen, and you just got to be prepared for it, folks. Okay. Now I want you to know, you know, when people get sick, they typically go to a hospital, right? And you know, when we had our first child at the time in 1996, our first son Matthew, he was, God, it's crazy. It's how fast they grow up. But we had Kaiser insurance, and we had a primary care physician, and our primary care doctor would then allow us to see a specialist. We needed to have a recommendation from our primary care doctor in order to see different kinds of specialists, okay? And there's all sorts of different kinds of specialists if you needed to see them, right? Well, when I saw this at Kaiser, I was like thinking how efficient it was. You know, it reduces fees and costs, and at the same time profitability, because you keep everything in-house, okay? And so when I saw this, it gave me an idea that in 1996 that we started our own financial. Wow, bless you, Anna. That was Anna. Hopefully no COVID-19 there. Otherwise, we're all going to get infected. I'm kidding. I shouldn't joke about that. That was terrible. Sorry about that. Anyway, we started a financial hospital. And so, you know, we're like financial doctors. And so we started a company that has all these different products and services, okay? And we do everything from credit card processing to to property and casualty, annuities, life insurance, college planning, retirement, investment advice, tax advice, debt advice. We could do loans. I mean, we created this, folks, and now we've got over 200 offices around the country. We do operate in all 50 states, but we're still growing. And now what we've recognized, even though I've been talking about it for the last 4 years, that we should start to transition into doing online virtual training. And I had a lot of resistance from people about this. And of course, now I was saying, this is the future. I was telling everybody, like, you know, the future is doing virtual type programs. And of course, you know, many of my colleagues disagreed that, you know, we should still do live training and face-to-face. Sure, but I mean, you know, I can't be in all 50 states, right? I can't be in 200 different locations, but if we do virtual stuff, we can certainly do that. So now in the last 4 months, everybody said, oh my gosh, Sean, how did you know? How did you know? And I said, man, I told you. I just love telling people, I told you so, right? I told you so. And it's like our kids, you know, they always feel like they know everything. And then they make a mistake, and then you tell them not to do something or do it a certain way, and then they find out the hard way. And as a parent, you're always learning to say to your children, I told you so, right? Well, I just want you guys to know that we're growing right now. We can certainly have more of you join our team. We'll train you, we'll teach you everything you need to know. And I have to tell you, I've invested in a lot of different kinds of businesses, and everything from online to technology to farms, real estate. Can I just tell you that for me, investing in all these different businesses, the most rewarding, in fact, not just the most rewarding, the most amount of passive income, residual income, the most amount of money I made is in the financial industry. And I want you to know that you cannot, I'm telling you, you cannot overlook the financial service industry. If you do, I think you're going to regret it. I think later on in life, you know, you're going to see that some of the wealthiest people in the world are coming from the financial industry, okay? You know, when a lot of people say, yeah, but my industry I'm in, we're in a $5 billion industry. We're a $30 billion industry. We're a $100 billion industry. Well, I want you guys to know that we're in a $30 trillion industry, 30 trillion, okay? And so, in fact, Anna, we should probably do one of those, do a PowerPoint with all the different industries out there and how much, you know, how big that industry is. I don't know of another industry. I think this is the biggest kept secret out there is we are a $30 trillion industry. And I think that years from today, all the wealthiest people will come from this industry. I really do. And when that happens, you're going to regret that you saw this, you heard about it, and you didn't jump on it, okay? Now, I understand that this may not be your dream. It wasn't my dream either, but let me just tell you something. This industry is the means. It's the means. It's the vehicle, the means to my dreams. And it can be the means to your dreams as well, okay? And so one of the reasons why I also believe in our industry is because what we do every day is an essential part of life. It is an absolute need. It's not a luxury, okay? It's not like you go, let me think about protecting my family, right? Let me see if it's let me think about getting out of debt. Okay, getting out of debt is not a luxury. That is an absolute necessity. You need to get out of debt as soon as possible, okay? Securing your financial future is an essential part of your life. Like, you better start preparing for the future. And I've got some good news and I've got bad news, right? The good news is you're all going to live a lot longer than you think. Okay, now the bad news is that you're going to be broke, okay, if you don't start saving money for the future, because there's a point where your body just simply says, I can't work anymore, right? I don't want to work anymore. And you're going to have to stop working and enjoy your golden years. And if you don't start planning today, you're going to spend your golden years at the golden arches called McDonald's and working there as a senior citizen. And what a sad thing to witness there, right? Because you didn't plan for your future. So, you know, I hear this great quote that people don't plan to fail, but they don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. So I want you to start planning now for the future and get with the person who invited you and say, hey, you know what? John's right. I got to look and figure out what I got to do to get out of debt. Figure out how to take care of my family and my children if something were to happen to me, right? What would I do if I got sued? Are your assets, your homes, your cars, are they all protected? If so, how? Are your retirement assets protected? If so, how? Okay, so these are all important things to understand that I love to have the privilege and the honor to train and coach and mentor you in that capacity, okay? Look, folks, if you don't come out of this quarantine with a new skill, some new knowledge, a new side hustle, or a new business, guys, you guys didn't lack time, okay? You lack discipline. And if you don't know how to inject discipline into your life, go to my YouTube channel, and I've got an episode there on how to inject more discipline into your life, okay? Now, having said that, I want you to start thinking passive income, residual income. Okay, that's where you want to be. Passive income, residual income. Don't focus on active income, meaning exchanging time for money, where you go work for an hour and you get paid for an hour, right? That is not going to serve you long term. In fact, I think more and more people are now starting to understand passive and residual income more now than ever. Okay, now I'm not going to get into the definition of what is passive and what's residual. You can come to one of my other episodes or go to my YouTube channel and see the difference between passive and residual income. But I want you to know that we've got all the systems in place to help you grow your business, okay? Look, we've got the financial format system, the business format system, the licensing format system, personal development system. We've got the leadership format system. We've got everything formatted. We got it turnkey. All you need to do is plug and play, right? It has taken us 30 years to get to this point, and now we've got a turnkey solution for all of you, all right? All you got to have is a burning desire and some big dreams, okay? And a lot of people right now, they don't even have dreams. Their dreams have been shattered. In fact, Dr. Martin Luther King said in one of the greatest talks, he said that most people die at the age of 25. We just don't bury them until they're 85, because most people have surrendered. You know, they've given up on their dreams. And I want you guys to know that your dreams can come true still. That the American dream is still alive, okay? It's real. And it's just, you need somebody to coach you and guide you, all right? And I want to be that person, all right? So, look, I want you to get with the person who invited you here today and say, hey, I want to get some more details on how to get passive income, residual income. I want to know how money works. I want to maybe even talk to John, talk to me directly. We can set up a Zoom call, right? And we can talk face-to-face, you know, through a Zoom. So whatever it is, we just want to help you, okay? That's it. At the end of the day, we want to help you so you can live the American dream. Now, what I want to do real quickly is spend some time here, the next 23 minutes, and talk about 17 things to do, the virtual meeting etiquette tips, right? Some things that you need to do. So let's talk about this. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, okay? So I want you to take some really good notes now, okay? I want you to take your camera out. If you're on your camera, I think you can screenshot it, okay? And just keep it so you know how to start running some effective virtual meetings, all right? So number one is this. Whenever you have a virtual meeting, I want you to start sending out email reminders, okay? Don't expect all your clients to remember all your virtual meetings. You need to call them, send them a reminder by email, through text, whatever it is. And you know, this is a little sample right here, just right. Hello, John Doe, just wanted to confirm the meeting I've scheduled for you to meet with my CEO on Wednesday. That would be me, let's say, right? On Wednesday, such and such date. Here's the Zoom link. By the way, I know there's different online virtual programs. There's GoToMeetings and WebEx and all these. For me, you guys, I think Zoom, personally, I like Zoom the best. I think it's the easiest. It's very user-friendly. And so I'm not a real technical savvy kind of guy. In fact, you know, technicality and how computers work and all that, I would be at the very bottom. So I would say if I can figure out how to use Zoom, you can figure out how to use Zoom as well, okay? So send out email reminders, okay? Number two, I think now is the time for you to go find a place in your house, apartment, condo, wherever, and find a quiet spot, okay? If you're speaking, you don't want your clients or other attendees to hear too much background noise. Your kids are in the back watching TV. One of your kids are playing games because they're a gamer. Your spouse or grandparents are yelling at the kids. The dog is barking in the background. You know, whatever, you know, someone's playing ping pong in the back of the room, shooting pool. I mean, you know, whatever. You want to find a quiet spot, okay, where you can not distract the other attendees. Now, number three is minimize distractions, okay? Put your phone down and put it on silent. Lock yourself in a quiet room and put 100% focus on your client, your prospect, the person you're having a meeting with, okay? I've actually seen people while I'm having a Zoom call, answer and text, and it just so annoying. You know, it's like so disrespectful because I could be doing the same thing, right? I could be texting people, I could be returning emails, I could be doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so I want to give the people that are on my podcast or Zoom call my undivided attention, right? Undivided, because that's how I want them to feel they're important to me, okay? And so can you imagine, you know, people doing that during a Zoom call, right, or a virtual meeting? So minimize distractions. Number 4, dress appropriately, okay? So I've got mixed emotions about this, you know, but I still believe, like I did a Zoom call the other day, or yesterday night. I was asked to be a keynote speaker for a big organization in the Philippines. And, you know, they were all dressed up, super nice, right? I mean, they were like in dress attire. You know how like flight attendants, they have the ladies wear the scarf around their neck and they look so glamorous and elegant, you know, and they were like their hair was done and all that, and they're on that coming in with a white t-shirt and a black, you know, whatever. So I don't dress always appropriately. I just feel like some people nowadays don't even like someone sitting with a suit or a tie on the other end. So, I mean, I dress kind of casually, but I would not tell you to like wear a t-shirt. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, what you wear down below they can't see, that doesn't matter. But you could at least dress up the top part that they can see, right? Number 5, use some virtual backgrounds. You wouldn't want strangers that you're talking to seeing inside of your house, invading your privacy. So when you're using Zoom, you can actually go over to the side and you can see over here as I'm going to do a little annotation here, okay? There's a little thing over here called virtual background. Once you click that, there's a lot of different sample backgrounds, okay? And if you want to add some more, all you got to do is go find an image online and then download it. And then what you do is you add the image to your portfolio. You can also add a what? A video. Okay, so there's a lot of fun things you can do with having a virtual background. Right now, you're probably going, oh, you know, are you using a virtual background now? And the answer is no. Believe it or not, we have a house, and the entire house, one of our houses, not like our main house, but one of our houses that we have, it is a, I was telling this to I had a boot camp last night also called MTC, called Make That Change. And we had about 25 people on that. And I was doing some training with them, and I was telling them how we turned one of our houses into a whole Disney theme. So every part of our house is a different theme, right? From the game room being the Toy Story, our garage is like a car theme. My 2 girls, their room is the Frozen theme. You know, my oldest son has got the Lion King because he's the king of the jungle, right? For my wife and I, it's Tarzan. I'm kidding. Just you know, but this right here in my background, we had a professional artist who came in and did these all throughout our home, and it's pretty cool. In fact, this one here, this image, which is Be Our Guest, is our dining room. So the whole room feels like we're in a castle, that we're in a big old dining room. And I don't know if I can actually change this. Yeah, there we go. So there's my whole background that you guys can see in my dining room, right? So I'm just going to zoom back in so you guys can see my face a little bit better. That's better. So yeah, I mean, you know, certain things you could do, virtual backgrounds, right? And so they're not looking at your backroom dresser, you know, they're not looking at your, you know, bed or your master bedroom, you know, as a background. So be conscientious about that, okay? Next here, number 6 is show up on time, right? Although you don't disrupt the presentation by joining late, you may miss important information. So whenever I do a podcast or a virtual meeting, you probably want to show up on time because there's going to be an announcement or something you're going to miss out on, and you don't want to miss that information, okay? Number 7, be engaged and attentive. So don't be cooking, don't be driving, don't be cleaning during a virtual meeting. Virtual meetings are not good times to be multitasking, okay? You want to ask and answer questions to stimulate conversations, right? Be engaged. Like, I'm serious. Like, I've seen Even in some of the trainings I've done, I'm looking at some of the other attendees, like they're driving in their car, they're on their what do you call it? Their treadmill, right? They're doing all sorts of stuff. And my question there would be, I mean, I guess it's listening is better than nothing, right? But one, it's kind of dangerous because if you're driving. But I mean, how do you take notes, right? I don't know. You have to go back and rewatch it again on YouTube and take notes again. But I would tell you, don't be doing all these other stuff and stay attentive, okay? Number 8, no food allowed, okay? Unless you're doing a virtual lunch, which I do almost every day, no one wants to see you stuff your face with chips and guacamole while discussing important business matters, right? And I have gone on some Zoom calls where I'm talking to a prospect. I'm doing an interview to maybe hire a new representative to our company, and my associate is in the background chomping on, ice cream, dessert, they're eating pizza, eating their burger, and me and my other prospect, because we haven't had lunch or breakfast or dinner either, our mouth is watering, watching our associate eat, and basically I gotta have one of my staff members, text them and say, don't share your screen, right? Or just stop eating, right? Because it's distracting for everybody. And again, you're kind of going, really? Like, do people really eat on virtual meetings? Yep, they do. That's why I'm bringing it up, okay? Number 9 is make sure that whenever you're doing a virtual meeting that you protect sensitive information before sharing your screen, right? Close unnecessary tabs from your browser window, whether it's pictures or someone else's account, whatever it is, just be real sensitive to that before you actually start sharing your screen. Okay, number 10, stick to the time frame. Stick to the time frame. If you say it's going to be an hour, be an hour, right? If it's going to be 30 minutes, be 30 minutes. If it's going to be an hour and a half, be an hour and a half, but respect each other's time, as your clients, prospects might have other appointments as well. So just know exactly how long. Like I even let people know, like I'll do 20-minute Zoom calls, right? Because that way in 1 hour I can do like 3 meetings, and I'll literally jump off one and jump on the other. Now I might be a minute or so late. Sometimes I do my virtual meetings and I let people dial in. So if we start at 11, I might start at 11:02 just to get everybody to dial in, okay, and get everyone on before I start making some announcements, right? But stick to the time frames and let people know that this will be a 20-minute Zoom call. This will be a 30-minute, it's a 1 hour, 90 minutes, and so forth, all right? Number 11, don't do private things during your meetings, okay? Oh my Lord. I mean, you're probably laughing. You're like, oh my God, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've heard people flush toilets in the background where they thought they were being muted and they weren't. They thought their video was off and it wasn't. I mean, you guys, I've seen some crazy things in my virtual meetings, and people are just not conscientious about these things, I think, right? So if you're logged into a meeting using your phone and your video and your audio is on, don't take your phone to the bathroom. I mean, oh my Lord, okay? So, yeah, all right, we'll leave it at that, okay? All right, let's go to number 12. Look at the camera, okay, giving the same effect as your eye contact. So just as if I'm talking to you, and this is where you got to learn to become a good actor, right? Actors know how to look at the camera, right? And so news people, news anchors, right? You got to learn to just start looking at the camera, okay? That's the camera. This is not the camera, okay? This is not the camera. But I've had people literally, when we're talking, not even look at the camera. Like, what are we doing a Zoom for? I mean, we could have just done a regular conference call, right? So when you're talking to people, it's so awkward. The world we live in now, I mean, it's like crazy that I now have to, there's like no one here in this room other than my staff, right, and me. And I'm having to like talk to you guys on a camera. I mean, it's so bizarre. Now, and the worst part about this type of a call, there are 2 types of calls, right? There are webinars, okay, and then there's meetings, okay? Now, which one's which?
Webinars, you can't see people.
That's right. A webinar, you can't see people, right? Which is what I'm doing right now. So it's really awkward, right? This is where I really feel like a news anchor, right? Where I'm reporting news or whatever, and it's just a camera and me. There's no one else and some camera people, right? But a meeting, you can actually see people, and so you can figure out which one you want to do. You want to do a meeting or do you want to do a webinar? So you have to click which button you want to do. Number 13, stage your video area. If you don't plan on taking advantage of the virtual backgrounds, as I said earlier, then clean the pile of clothes behind you and the disaster where your house or apartment looked like it just got hit by a 10.0 earthquake, all right? And so I've even had several of my associates, even like afterwards, I texted them, I said, hey, next time, you probably shouldn't have that bra or, you know, your underwear in the back in your laundry. And they're like, oh my God, you were able to see that in the camera? Yeah, we were able to see that kind of stuff. So, you know, just things for you to be thinking about, all right? Number 14, put your own tech support before, be your own tech support, right? Before you start. So, you know, you can do a test run, right? You can actually see everything and what the camera can see in the background. Couple of weeks ago, it was interesting. One of our associates actually tuned in, and I could see the camera, and I didn't really see the name. I just saw the image, like my first glance, and it was like two. It was like, I think it was like a red and a blue one, and it was like a picture of a woman's upper front. Like it was like the what was it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like, you could see like the stomach part. It was like a form of a body. Does that make sense? And I'm like, what the heck is that in the background? And so obviously I had to ask the associate, I'm like, what is that in the background, you know? And so I didn't know if they were selling like, you know, bras or female clothing or what they were doing. And you know what's really interesting is that he was saying that it was the mold of his wife actually when she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool, because then you can actually see the mold. And I was thinking, what a great idea. I should have done that myself with my own wife. But, you know, it's kind of cool to share that, and you got cool ideas, but it certainly raises, you know, a question like, what is that? And everybody, I'm sure, asks, right? I actually, for a while, had toilet paper in the background. It wasn't real toilet paper. Some people thought it was real toilet paper. It wasn't real. It was a virtual screen, and when people logged on, they actually laughed at that, right? So it was a wonderful way to break the ice, okay? And you know, and people are like, is that real toilet paper back there? And we had this great discussion, and people laughed about it, and they chuckled, and that's that. Just having some fun with it as well, okay? Number 15, light, okay? I wish I can show you guys. Okay, let me just tell you this. I'm in a room right now, and I have this big old chandelier here in my room. In fact, it looks like the chandelier from Beauty and the Beast, okay? Now, I just want you guys to know that I've got lights here, okay, lights. And I'm going to show you what happens if I turn them off. Is there a way you can just unplug that light? Let me just show you guys, just unplug it. Down below, just take it out of the power strip, right? Probably be easier. So let me show you. Okay, look at what just happened. See, I just turned off my lights, okay? And when I turned off all of a sudden, I've got a big chandelier in my room. And do you see the lighting quality and what happens here? So this is no light, and then I'm going to turn the light back on, okay? And whoa, okay, let there be light. Do you guys see the difference there? This is why you got to have proper and more lighting. You can't expect just the light in your bedroom to be sufficient for you to get the quality, and the video quality will dramatically increase with good lighting, okay? Now, I just demoed it, right? By the way, I've got a chandelier, and I've got 4 can lights earlier, and look at the quality, okay? So there you have it. Number 16, so important that you introduce everyone at the very beginning. So as you got like these 6 people in this, you know, example, right? This is, it says, be sure to introduce all parties you're hosting at the beginning so you can create a welcoming environment and stimulate engagement. It's kind of like if you had a party at your house, you know, and I show up and I feel awkward, right? Because I don't know anyone, and I'm now showing up at a party and I got to walk around and introduce myself. that's a little more awkward than you being a wonderful, hospitable host of your party, where you take me and say, hey, John, let me introduce you to Bob and Steve and Kathy and Melinda, and you know what I mean? And you're making the introduction, right? So it's the same thing you want to do when you're doing a virtual meeting, okay? And number 17, guy, is be aware of your audio and video settings. Now, I've had several people call and say, John, that new microphone you got doesn't work very well. Well, that's not true. We've actually tested the audio, and it sounds studio quality. But here's what's the difference is that when you do your Zoom call, you need to go up here, right? You got to go here, and it's highlighted where it says audio. Okay, notice you got to hit settings. Then you got to go to what? Audio. And then you got to take this little cursor and you got to move it, right? And you got to take this microphone and move it. So you got to move it up. And a lot of people, this little circle thing was like down here, and that's why they couldn't hear me properly. And they kept on saying, John, there's an audio problem. There's an audio problem. And I kept on saying, it's not my audio, it's yours. You got to increase this up to the maximum so that you can get the best sound quality, okay? So I hope you guys are all doing that now. Make sure that you're looking at your settings, look at your volume control here and your speakers and increase that, all right? So hopefully that helps you out. Oh yeah, by the way, another thing we want to emphasize here, guys, very important that you do this, is you see right here it says check. There's a little check mark right here. Do you guys see that? Okay, and it says automatically adjust volume. I want you to uncheck that, uncheck it, okay? Because what happens is your computer, for whatever reason, picks up little sounds in the background, and then we'll switch this all over the place, okay? So what I want you to do is make sure that you go in there and uncheck that so you're getting the best microphone quality, if you would, all right? Now, so that's that. Now, folks, for you to become an effective communicator, right, on these virtual meetings, all right, make sure that you understand something called 55-38-7, okay, 55-38-7. So let me tell you what this is. Number one, 55%, okay, is your body language, okay? So what you want to do is make sure that you're periodically looking at your screen, and, you know, some like they say, yeah, John, I'm moving my body, but it's like, but you can't see the hands because the hands are out, right? So my hands are actually moving, believe it or not, but you can't see it because you didn't realize that it's not in the frame of the camera. So you got to make sure. Now, next thing you know, it's awkward because right now my hands actually look like they're in front of my face, right? It's so awkward. But this is where you got to do your hands. So 55%, this is your body language, right? Your facial reaction, all that is what's going to make this 55% communication. And you know what's amazing is even though we're not face-to-face, like live in person, even the facial, the body language, the hands, the heads, the mouth, the eyes, the frowning, all that has a very, very powerful way of communicating with your audience, okay? 38% is your tone, the tonality, right? The energy, going up and down, modulating your tone and the volume. So that's all 38%. And number 7 is the words that you actually choose, right? So this is where you got to master all that. You got to master the hands, okay? You got to, you know, and some of you guys may even want to stand up as you're doing these because you want to you want to move, you want to talk in the camera and move forward and get in closer to the camera and do these kind of things, because all that is very captivating, right? Just like I'm doing right now, right? I'm moving forward and backward, right? That's all body language. Very important that you do that. Now, some equipment for you to get, some of the basic equipment for you guys to get. And again, I want you to take a screenshot of this because I'm going to go quickly. I've got about 2-3 minutes left with you guys. So here we go. Now, first thing is, I want you to get a high quality webcam. Some of you guys are using your computer cameras. Though they're good, they're not the highest quality. And I want to make sure that you're getting the best quality webcam. I personally like the Logitech. These are about $200, okay? They're available at Best Buy, Amazon, wherever. And I want you to get the Brio HD, right? It's called the Brio Ultra HD. It's 4K. So you want to make sure you're getting the 4K one, okay? And then from here, this is the lighting kit. We found this one on Amazon. It comes with a nice case, okay? You get 3 of them. It comes with all the tripods. It comes with all the lighting stuff right here. You guys, for 3 of those, it's $189 right now on Amazon, right? So again, this is your lighting kit. This is what I use right now. I've got 3 of these around my room, highlighting the back, me, all that kind of stuff, okay? And then there's a green screen. So if you want to get a virtual screen, this is what you're going to get in the back. It's called the Elgato, right? Green screen. It is a collapsible green screen. Those little legs on the bottom, you know, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but these little legs down here, they actually fold in. So you can actually make travel with them, right? So I bought several of these, and I've got different brands, and 2 of them have already broke down, okay? So I like this one. The Elgato, I think, is the best quality one. So make sure you guys get this one here, and it's great, okay? You just leave it right behind your seat, and then you can do your virtual screens. Now, some additional things that you can add on. Number 1 is if you have one of those Nikon or Canon or what's the other one? Sony cameras, right? And those are what they call your DSLRs. All you do is you get one of these, right? And then you just plug this in to the top where you normally plug in your flash. You would just plug this in. And by the way, this is what I'm using now. Right now, I'm at a different house. I'm in a different location. So this is what I'm using now. You can buy these on Amazon, B&H Photo. By the way, if you're ever going to buy photo equipment or whatever, I like B&H. I mean, their stuff is always very inexpensive. Well, not inexpensive. It's expensive, but it's cheaper than other places, right? Amazon, yes, $99 if you want to get a nice microphone here. Now, this is a high-quality microphone. It sounds great. You can hear me now, okay? But when I'm in my studio, I went and got myself a really nicer, fancier one. Obviously, you can see the price difference. This one's almost $400. This is called the SM7B Cardio Dynamic Microphone. Now, this is pro quality. This is like studio recording. Makes your voice really nice and solid, and the tones are really good. So I would use this one here if you're wanting to start some sort of a YouTube channel. You want to record your podcasts, your webinars, and then upload it somewhere. This is a great Shure microphone. And then if you have one of these DSLR, Nikon, Canon, whatever it is, you're going to get one of these little devices. This is called the HD60. Again, you can buy it at elgato.com. And you're just going to take the camera with a DSLR cable, right, and just stick it right into that. And then on the back side of this little device is an HDMI cable that goes right into your computer, okay? So these are also $199. And so there you have it. Just some basic equipment, because let me just tell you something. The idea of having events and virtual meetings now, I don't think this is going to go away. I think this is now going to be our new norm. I really do. I don't think this is going to go backwards. If anything, it's going to move forwards. This is why if you go and look at Zoom's stocks, Zoom stocks is up over 300% year to date. That's because I think Zoom is now enhancing their platform even more. People are investing in them. They're believing in this. And that kind of gives you an idea of where we're headed, okay? So again, I hope I provided you guys some great content here today. Again, I want to encourage you to meet with the person who invited you. Okay, don't make the mistake and procrastinate and like push this to a later time. Get with the person who invited you and say, hey, I want to learn more. This was great. This was a lot better than I expected. And if it wasn't what you expected, hey, I still wish you all the best, right? And all your endeavors. And I want to talk to you about how money works, and I'd love to meet with you guys on a Zoom. Let's do a virtual Zoom, right? And take it from there. You know what's really crazy is I actually did a virtual Zoom with somebody else, and I said, hey, let me buy lunch. And they're like, how are you going to buy lunch? I said, I'll buy lunch. What would you like? And they said, oh, and then they told me what they wanted, and they actually wanted Thai food. So I called a local Thai restaurant, and I had somebody go, there was, what is that food pickup thing, service? Huh? Postmates, right? Yeah, we used Postmates. They went and picked up the food, delivered it to their house, and we're having a virtual lunch. And bought. Are you with me on that? I sent them the lunch, and it was so cool. And they're like, oh my God, that was so cool, John. I've never had anybody do that for me. I've had, no one has ever sent me lunch to my house, right, while I'm doing a virtual meeting. So those are some fun things that you guys can do right now, okay, and get more people in your meetings, okay? Again, July 25th, everybody, right? Randy's Spelling, and he's got a bunch of other guest speakers that are going to be tuning in here. $197. Now, a lot of you guys are like, well, who's Randy Spelling? Well, Randy Spelling is a thought leader. He is a mentor, coach, business coach, and his dad is AREN Spelling, right? AREN Spelling is Hollywood's one of the biggest names. AREN Spelling's done numerous movies, television shows like Charlie's Angels, The Love Boat, Melrose Place, right? 90210, and the list goes on and on and on. You may want to Google AREN Spelling, and this is Randy Spelling, the son of AREN, and his sister is a girl named Tori Spelling, okay? So for basically $200, you guys just spend a day with them, learn everything on what you need to do to grow your business, to grow yourself on the inside, okay? And there's just a few more spaces here. So right here, you're going to go to Anna@tgrmastermind.com, Anna@tgrmastermind.com. And what I want you to do right now for anybody who would like to get a copy of the book and a copy of the movie, you're going to get both. Normally, the movie by itself is $25. So now with the copy of a hard book copy, it's a hard book, right? Which also is normally like $25. We're actually doing both, the movie and the book for $25. We're going to send it to you, but you got to email Anna@tgrmastermind.com right now. And that offer will expire at the end of business day today. So don't procrastinate. Email her right now. And then, of course, Anna will reach out to you and get all your information. And we'll send out a copy of the movie on DVD and a copy of my book right away. All right? So there you have it. We look forward to seeing you guys next week on Tuesday, July 14th at 6:30. And then, of course, make sure that you guys follow me on these different social media platforms. We look forward to seeing you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It is absolutely beautiful out there. Go out there and wear your mask and get some sun, okay? Get some sun, all right? So thank you guys so much. If you love what you hear, just do me a high five on the very bottom. You'll see a little high five. Is there a high five thing, right?
Raise hand.
Yeah, raise hand, okay? So thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. We love you. We're thinking about you. Be safe, be strong. God bless. Take care, everyone.